Okay, we're official. It's actually working now, which is great. Perfect. I had a little fiasco. I'm using a new recording thing since the last series that I did the first Conlang here, because reasons. But I'm using OBS now to record things, and so there's a learning curve, as there's a learning curve with all things. There's a learning curve even with this, and I'm also figuring out where to put my microphone. I think right here is going to work for now, but let's see what happens. Anyway, today we're looking at the phonology of this language, and I'm getting kind of back in the headspace. I haven't conlanged actually in a while. I've thought about languages, I've had ideas and things like that, but I haven't actually sat down and written anything out for a while. So I'm going to get kind of back into the swing of things, I guess live in this series. So let's start with a phonology, nice and easy. So if we remind ourselves what we want something like, we want a simple syllable structure with just a few coda consonants. I want a fairly simple phonology. Again, the language I'm kind of noodling in right now is Japanese. I don't want to make a Japanese clone, but I do like the flow of Japanese, and I do kind of want to sort of evoke that sound. Remind ourselves we're going to do mostly isolating, which means we'll probably end up with sort of medium length words because we won't have a bunch of endings or prefixes added onto it. And probably our short words, a lot of time we'll probably have these verbs be kind of our shortest words in a sense, and then obviously like pronouns and prepositions and things like that. Well, I should say adpositions. I don't actually know. I haven't thought about the grammar of this language, or like say the word order of this language very much. And then aspiration harmony, and I do want to make that a thing. So in our phonology, we're going to end up having aspiration harmony, which means I want to have aspiration pairs between two different things. So let's look at our phonology and say we want to have stops. We want to have a whole bunch of things. Let me insert actually just a big old table. And we've got labial, dental. I'm going to do dental. I just have decided labial, dental. We've got, I don't know that I'm going to do palatal, but I'll leave it in there. Velar, and then uvular, and then glottal-ish. We've got stops, we've got nasals, we've got defricatives, we've got affricates if we want them. We got trills and taps, we got, what else do we even have? We could do approximants, but I don't know that we'll get a lot of approximants. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. I guess we'll find out. That's fairly robust of what we're doing. We'll add more if we think of it. So I do want p, t, k. I know that. And I want b, d, g. So we'll deal with that. I think that's pretty standard. And I guess let's work on the unaspirated phonology. And then we'll tackle the aspirated phonology. And that's how we'll handle these things. One thing with, okay, I can see how long I've been recording in OBS. I'm getting new to the whole new UI over here. Perfect, okay. I don't know that I want to go into uvular land. And I don't know that I want to go at all into uvular land. I do want a glottal stop. And so I need to be able to type a glottal stop. I also need to re-download my IPA keyboard. I'm doing this on a different computer than I previously recorded. And so I don't even have all the same hotkeys and stuff yet figured out. But I do want a glottal stop, and that's good. So I think that probably defines this. Nasals. I do want n, n. Do I want n as like a real nasal that's used in the language? I don't know. I think it's probably just one of those, like it pops up because you've got a nasal in front of a velar. I think is probably what'll happen, rather than having it be phonemic on its own. There we are. No glottal nasals. Absolutely not going to do that. Do I want fricatives in the base? And then will they have... So I got to think about how this is going to deal with my aspiration harmony. So if we take and copy this... yes, I would like to delete the whole row. That's why I highlighted it and hit backspace. So what's going to happen here is that you're going to have the-ish stuff. You're going to have the-ish stuff going on here. You know, the stuff going on here. And that's actually a huh. Is where I want it to end up. I want it to end up fricatives from the stops. Aspirated nasals. I'm thinking of going kind of the Irish route. Yeah. And doing that. And are we going to have nasal codas? I did say few codas. It's hard to have a few codas and have them not be nasal. Or at least having like one nasal. Kind of like how Japanese has its one coda consonant. It's one orthographic coda consonant. Do I want it to do a thing? I guess... would it... Well, if I'm doing a nasal coda, do I want it to be like the Japanese nasal coda, where it's not really a consonant, it's just like adding nasalization to the previous vowel, or do I want to do like real things on it? One thing I do want to do is have s and have it be a final one, and then have that turn into just like basically turn into aspiration on the next thing. And then lengthen vowel. So let me make some notes. So coda s is going to become h, and then trigger aspiration of the following consonant. Or if it's final, lengthen preceding vowel. Do I want vowel length to only be a final thing, though? That feels weird. Maybe it and lengthen preceding vowel. Do I want vowel length? That's a real question, right? It's a question we all ask ourselves every day. Do I want vowel length or not? Do I want this to make the previous vowel long regardless? Like it lengthens it and triggers aspiration? So effectively what it would be doing is it would be triggering aspiration. So S or S would become trigger aspiration and then delete and trigger vowel length, which would mean that all of our aspirated consonants would, all of the aspirated consonants this way would be preceded by a long vowel, but it would mean that we could have a word. So effectively what would end up happening is you have a word like asta, and asta becomes ahta, and then ahta becomes ahta, which becomes ata. Or I should say atha. It's going to become atha. Whereas something like you could have atha, you could have fricatives that don't do that. And do I want to do z? I think I'm just going to go z and get rid of this whole atha thing. So asta becomes ahta, becomes asa, becomes asa. But you could just have a word, asa. And now you have asa and asa as two different words, and they come from different things. And what would be interesting is you would have, so asta, and let's say you have a suffix. Well, there's not a lot of suffixes, but there's some, maybe. Asta, you could have a suffix that's something like, I'm trying to think of how you could preserve the T at all. It's gonna be hard to preserve the T without. I mean, what's going to end up happening is, I guess you could have prefixes that end in S, would be fun. So you could have a prefix like is, and then you could have a word like koru, and then you have iskoru, which becomes ihkoru, which becomes ikoru, ihoru, 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 ihoru. But then you could have so now you have ihoru and goru as two different words. Still the transparency there. Maybe I have more. Okay. Maybe the simple syllables comes later, so that I have more weird stuff going on with prefixes and suffixes and things like that. I'm starting to go, there's going to be a really deep span of time then, I get to really, because like we could have something like Prastaklo. And Prastaklo is going to end up becoming something like Parasakuo. Parasakuo. Or something like Kanstier could become something like Kansi. Interesting thoughts all around. Let's see. The problem is I can't just like push this to later, because this is like the whole sound of the language. What do I want it to sound like? Kansi. Paraskuo. These are interesting questions. I kind of like the idea of having the vowel insertion to get rid of consonant clusters as a thing that happens. But it kind of feels like, I don't know. It feels like maybe that's the fridge behind me, by the way, that's making all those noises. So just, let that be what it is. How do we want to do this? Nobody knows how to make a language. We all make it up as we go. Let's see here. Oh, maybe we only have those. Maybe we only have voiceless ones in the language like this. Let's see here. Because the IPA for this is an X. I'm going to put these probably into... I'm going to put them right into romanization right away. It's totally fine. You're allowed to do whatever you want in your language. Which means actually I'll put that tricky things we're dealing with. Maybe I should have thought of this before I hit record. Oh, we're 15 minutes in. All right, cool. Let's see. I am going to say Let's do yeah. Should it be the z? I love that. We'll just make that a thing. We're gonna not have a trill, but we're gonna have a tap. Partly because I want that Japanese sound, and it's gonna be the aha aha aha. Maybe the fricativized version of that is a trill, and we'll do that with two R's, kind of like the Spanish pero perro. I don't know if I'm feeling affricates, but I also it's a how would that be different? How is that gonna end up fricativizing? Right, that's the question. This should be t and d still. How would that end up fricativizing? Right, t and d. Could that be sh and j? Do I want sh and j? Kind of. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening. I'm okay with this. We're gonna get rid of the palatal because I don't see that happening. Okay, I like that. I like that so far. I want to see how we're gonna get these. What triggers aspiration? Triggering aspiration. We're gonna have consonant becomes aspirated consonant when there's an S in front of it, and we should actually put fricative in front of it. Followed by a fricative becoming H whenever it is in front of an aspirated consonant. We're going to use H for an aspirated consonant here. So let's see. Are these backwards? I think they're backwards. We're going to do this. So fricatives become H when they're in front of consonants. I should maybe just have them be when they're syllable final. Do that. That's word final. I need syllable final, which means I need a sigma. Oh, where's the sigma in this list of things? It's in the Greek part. Wrong sigma. This is the sigma. There it is. Okay, cool. So when it comes right before syllable break, and then that's going to become that. Is there anything else that I want to have trigger aspiration? I don't think so necessarily. Would being put in front of one, so like apfa, afa. I think so. We'll do. Yeah. So a consonant also becomes aspirated when it is in front of a fricative with alpha place. That's what we want. Place of articulation, alpha, and this would be alpha. So like ph would go to ph, but psa would not, kind of a thing. And then tsa would actually go, probably would just stay tsa, because that's a thing. It's at 2 slashes. Is that how you do that? We'll just say unless it's dental. Yeah, that's decent. And then anything else that I want to have trigger aspiration? And then I'll probably have this H goes to null when it is in front of any consonant. Do I want to do end of syllable? We'll do syllable final H's. Yeah, syllable final H's. Or word final, I mean, clearly. And then later we'll have, we'll make this, so cleaning up. Yep, that'll be a thing. Then we'll have cluster separation, and it will be nothing will be becoming a vowel when it is between two consonants, or word final, right? Because word final is also not going to be a place you could have a consonant. Again, unless it's nasal. Unless it's a nasal in front of it. And we can let the nasal do a thing. We can say all nasals go to N under these same circumstances. We'll put that under cleaning up. I think that might be a good for today. I mean, that's 22-minute episode. I think that's where we'll get there. That's the beginning of phonology. We're talking about aspiration. We're looking at different aspiration-y things. I don't know. I mean, maybe this episode's fun. Maybe it's not fun to watch. But we're setting up the phonology. We're getting set. And I like this aspiration harmony stuff. I'm interested to see if it matters in the long run in the language. We're starting to get an idea of what our historical stuff is. But yeah, so I think that's a decent place to start. I'm interested. I don't want to make it too complicated, is another one of my things I'd like to do. But yeah, I think probably one more episode for phonology. And then while we clean things up, maybe one or two more episodes of phonology, one to really nail down this aspiration stuff, and then one to sit down and probably just pump out a bunch of words and see what happens, and then clean up our rules. And then hopefully we can get through phonology real quick, and then we just move right into probably the biggest part of our language is this verb stuff. So that's where I'll end this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Icarus out.